Hey, what up, everybody? Stevie Breach coming to you, coming off of the Monday Night Raw rating, which I guess they are hitting the shit hit the fan, I guess you can say. Monday night was a packed night full of a whole bunch of stuff. You had the presidential debate, you had the Game 7 of the NLCS, you had Monday Night Football, you had normal sitcoms on TV, this, that, and the other. Basically, if you were a person who was on the fringe of watching wrestling every now and then, your night was booked, and there was no Monday Night Raw in your future. It just was a bad night to have on TV. They could have done a Thursday Night Raw or something like that they used to do back in the day because of the dog show or the U.S. Open. I'm sure they would have, because the deck was stacked against them. Everybody knows that when the Raw rating comes in at a low number, shit hits the fan, much like when Vince McMahon came back. I guess that was only a few weeks ago. Here in Sacramento, and he fought Punk in the main event. But here we are coming to the main event of Hell in a Cell, Ryback versus CM Punk, and I guess that's the one good thing going for the Hell in a Cell. I mean, it does have some good matches going for it. I'd really like to see what happens in the Orton versus Del Rio match. It's sort of a random match to me, but I guess you can sort of look at it like a number one contenders match. Because I think if they're going to do this 5-on-5 match at the Survivor Series, which I would guess would be like Team WWE against Team Punk or Team Heyman, whatever you want to say it, I would guess that Big Show would join back up, with Team Lesnar and be like Brock, Punk, Big Show, and they could build a team of guys like that. Maybe you can even work in putting the tag team feud in there. You can put Rhodes Scholars in there up against whoever and whatever. But I mean, if I was going to order this show, I would order this show for the one reason of you don't really know what's going to happen. It's one of those shows that could go either way. You have to put your head together and think, what is more valuable to WWE right now? This 300-day title reign of CM Punk, which is going to lead to him going to the Royal Rumble to face The Rock. That's what everybody's been looking at to happen, with them trading, the shots back and forth on Twitter. Or do they, stop the streak, put the belt on Punk put the belt on Ryback for a hot minute and drop it back to Punk, only for him to get the Royal Rumble and drop it to The Rock. Is that what it's worth to you? I've already let everybody know my thoughts on the whole CM Punk title reign. It doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. I think it's pretty cool that he's held the belt for so long. We haven't had a champion like this in God knows however it's been. It reminds me back in the day when Hogan had it for years, and stuff like that. I mean, just we've seen so long that the belt gets traded back every other pay-per-view, and it's fun to see the belt change hands, especially when you order a show and you sit through it and the main event comes and you really saw something, or even if you're lucky enough to be there. But, when it's just traded back and forth like it's, hot potato and it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't mean anything. But, so on one hand, in my book, Punk really hasn't beaten anybody that great during this streak. He hasn't really been elevated to the main event at all or anything like that. He took a shot at himself, or not really at himself, took a shot, I guess you can say, WWE in his documentary, saying that they put the title on him, but they didn't move him up at all. I can say that they put the title on him for this run, and they moved him up a little bit, but he's not really like the star featured guy. He's working his way to get there, but this reign that he's on right now, especially with the heel turn involved in it, I don't know. I don't really see him getting to the point. I would love to see him get there with him and The Rock, and see what that can do at the Royal Rumble, and maybe that will be the thing that puts him over to being that face of the company, that face of the guy. Some people really look at him that way. I don't. And on the other hand, you have Ryback, who's coming in with his undefeated streak. Reminds everybody a lot of Goldberg. When I think of Goldberg, people love that guy when he's in WCW. I was there. One of the best crowds I've ever been in was at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, and he beat Hogan. I mean, I was very lucky to be there that night. That was one of the first wrestling, I think it was the first wrestling show that I ever went to on my own without my parents. Me and my buddy Case from high school and my girlfriend, we all went. Bought my first NWO shirt that day, and I was one of the only people in that crowd. Don't know how many people was there. I'm sure Jim and I knows. But I want to say I'm probably one of 10 people that were really chanting for Hogan the whole time. And when the tide turned and they put the jackhammer on Hogan, I felt like everybody in that arena turned around and looked at me because I was making so much noise that night, having fun. But once, Goldberg went from 0 to whatever he ended up at, 110, 120, and he finally lost the belt to Kevin Nash at Starrcade because of, Scott Hall running in there. They looked like they were really going to push Goldberg, and keep that thing going and all that momentum with him. But, he didn't have to go on that whole undefeated streak again, but he would have to work his way through the NWO, which started with Scott Hall with the taser on a pole ladder match. I think everybody knows how great that is. If not, look it up. And then he was going to have to fight the rest of the roster of the NWO, Conan, Kurt Hennig, Buff Bagwell, until he worked it up to beating Nash and beating Hogan. Kevin Nash, the booker at the time, said that's, what they did. That was the whole plan of what they did, to keep the momentum of Goldberg going. That way he just wouldn't have to show up at the next pay-per-view and he'd already be in that main event slot. It made you want that hunger, for Goldberg to be there and be on the chase. And because, he was going up against the NWO, you don't ever just go up against one guy. You have to go up against the whole, group. Ryback doesn't have that. And, once they took the streak off Goldberg, injury there and injury there, and he was way off track. Russo came in there and thought the only way that he could fix him was to turn heel. Nobody liked that, so they turned him face. And because he turned against Russo and them in the storyline, the only storyline they could think of was that he would never get another title shot unless he went through the streak again. He had to get all the way up to 119, or he had to beat the previous streak, and then he would get a title shot. So basically guaranteeing that Goldberg was never going to be in the title picture for the next year. What do you care? He needs to go out there and he's going to beat guys like Rick Steiner and Kenny Chaos and whoever, and you're going to have to count the wins. But at the end of the day, they don't matter because he's not going to be anywhere near a title picture until whatever. Ryback, let's say he goes in and he wins this title. What do you do with him? You get him to the next pay-per-view, or you get him on a special Raw and you have him drop it. There's talks of them doing some sort of Survivor Series 5-on-5 match. I don't know if that means that they're going to have the build-up like Team Heyman, and it'd be like Brock and Punk. You'd probably put Big Show over there. Maybe you put Rhodes Scholars on that team and make 5, and you have them go up against like Cena, Ryback. I guess you'd have to put Kane and Daniel Bryan on that team. Too bad you couldn't put Punk and Bryan on the team somehow, but they're the faces, and you can't really put them on there. And throw on Randy Orton because he ain't got nothing for him. I really like the match that they have going with Orton versus Del Rio. I think it's sort of like a number 1 contenders match, but more than likely you'll put Del Rio back with Sheamus and see what they can do there. But even if you put the title on him, he's going to drop it. If you don't, where do you go from there? Maybe you put him in this 5-on-5 match and elevate him a little bit, but does anybody really want to see Ryback versus Big Show? That's really the only the only match I can really see coming in the future. To me, more than anything, you have to keep this title on Punk. No matter what that Raw rating is, you don't want to shake things up too much. Because the one big thing that you're building to is WrestleMania. And for WrestleMania, you have to have Punk and Rock to elevate that. And you have to put the belts on the Rock so he can go in the champion and hopefully lose to Cena again. So, all in all, what I'm picking is Punk in this match. But in the back of my mind, I know that they could shake things up and put that belt on Ryback, which I think will be a mistake. But you never know. You can't count your chickens before they hatch. This isn't WCW. It isn't Goldberg. Maybe they can pull something off. But let me know what you guys think. I appreciate it. That was some good random WCW talk. Have fun, everybody. And make sure you watch the pay-per-view on Sunday.